Now, I've had some really interesting things happen in the last 2 to 3 weeks. I've been on the carnivore diet for over 3 years, and I've had some things happen to me that have not happened in the last 3 years. So, I'm going to go over these, share my experiences. I think that everybody can learn from everybody's experiences, and it might help you out there as well with what you might be going through or you may be going through in the future. So, listen up to this short, brief video, and let me just go right into it. All right. So about 3 weeks ago, I got sick with a bronchitis and a sinus infection. And I was told that it was a bacterial form of bronchitis and I needed an antibiotic. They put me on something called doxycyclone, I believe it was. And I took it for about 3 days and then I just had to completely stop taking it. Now, I have since gotten over the bronchitis, even though I only took it for 3 days. But the side effects that I had from that antibiotic were horrible. Um, I had, some things that could be common side effects, like, diarrhea, stuff like that. It messes with your gut, those types of things. But I had issues happen to me that haven't happened since I went carnivore 3 years ago. For instance, my big toe on my right foot, which I had arthritis, have not had a flare up in 3 years, no issues with it. It got painful, a little bit swollen, top of the foot, a little bit swollen. And this started, a couple days after starting to take that antibiotic. And then it kind of went away. And then my right ankle was hurting. And so the top of the foot of the big toe, my ankle was a little sore. Then I had a little bit of my left ankle being sore. I had this finger here got really tight and sore. Then I also, maybe a week or so later, this finger got a little bit sore. The foot, that right foot ankle area, off and on since then, 2 to 3 weeks now, about 3 weeks here, has been sore, especially the ankle area. Maybe for a day, the top of the foot starts hurting more. Then it goes back to the ankle, whatever. There's been days that I've been having to limp a bit because it was so painful, and other days that there really wasn't much pain at all, and I seemed fine. So it seems to have come and go, but that is something that has happened now for about 3 weeks, which is kind of crazy because it, like, again, comes and goes. And I have not had this issue in over 3 years. Now, I had some other things happen too. I was just out of town and I got a stiff neck. That can happen, I guess. But I did get a stiff neck from sleeping in the hotel, with the pillows there. Maybe my body wasn't adjusted to it. But it got really painful for like 3 days. That seems to be fine now. As you can see, I'm not having any issues moving my head back and forth. But that was weird. Like, I never really get anything like that. If I get a stiff neck, it's maybe for like a day or something and it's gone. So there's just been really different things like that. And here's the big kicker for me. Ever since then, I've had a hard time with my eating. I've had cravings like crazy. And I've also not been sticking to one meal a day. It seems like I don't stay full right now. It's weird. Like, I'll get full, but then I want to eat again later and I end up eating again. And again, the cravings have been bad. And when I was out of town last week, moving my daughter, she moved down to South Carolina, got her moved in, but we went out to eat at restaurants a lot. And that made it really hard with the cravings. And there were some meals I had that weren't very good. So I did run into that issue. The other thing that has been kind of interesting, and this is probably the last thing that really I'm going to talk about here that I've noticed, but there have been a few days where my heart rate has been higher than normal. Typically, my resting heart rate is somewhere in the 60s or 70s. Couple days, like yesterday evening, for instance, just out of nowhere, my heart rate was higher. It was up around 90 to the low mid 90s, resting, just sitting in a chair, which is kind of weird for me. Blood pressure was fine. No AFib or any of that kind of stuff. I'm somebody that hasn't had AFib in over 3 years, but I was diagnosed with it back in 2018. So keep that as a reference point there. But, that was happening. Then right before I went to bed last night, it seemed to be fine again. It was lower back normal, and it's been fine so far today. So I don't know, but that's like the second time here in the last couple of weeks that it's done that. And all of this stuff has been since I took that antibiotic. What's weird is it has been now like 3 weeks. And from everything I've read, the antibiotic should be pretty much out of your body within a couple of weeks. So I'm not sure why I am still seeing issues that seem to stem from the antibiotic. Maybe it's because I'm also not eating quite as clean the last 4 or 5 days or so, although yesterday was a very, very clean day for me, as was the day before. But the 4 or 5 days before that weren't quite as clean. So maybe it's something to do with that too. I don't know. But it's just been very interesting experience. I'm gonna probably stay away from antibiotics, and I'm gonna keep watching this and see because it doesn't make sense. For 3 years, I haven't had any of these issues, and other issues that I had before carnivore haven't come back. It's just those specific ones. Um, and yeah, it just seems interesting. One thing I know is that the antibiotic does kill the gut microbe that has to do with feeding on oxalates. So if I'm eating foods maybe that have a little bit of oxalates, or I still have oxalates in my body, there could be oxalate dumping. And maybe that's what's happening with my foot. That's what I originally thought 3 weeks ago. Maybe that's what's happening and it's still happening. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's the experience that I've been having here. I'd like to hear from you though. Down in the comments below, let me know if you've experienced something like this, or if you just have any idea if it is something antibiotic related. Maybe there's something I don't know about antibiotics that really do cause issues like this, especially for somebody that's been on a carnivore diet and staying away from plant material and that kind of stuff. So let me know in the comments below. I'd like to hear from you. And also, if you are new to the carnivore diet, I have a video series, a playlist of different videos that have to do with starting on the carnivore diet. You can see that right here. Go ahead and check that out, and I will see you in there.